TGIF warriors, thank God I found F.A.C.E. Thank God it's F.A.C.E. All right. Hiya, Mike. Nice, man. Good scalp. You know, that's an example of being right the trade, wrong the market. I know everyone has been right the wrong the trade, right the market, shaken out before the move. I prefer this. I'd rather be wrong the market, right the trade. So I guess it really is just being right about the trade, not about a forecast, right? Scott Williams, how are you? Steve, RJP, Ingmar, AJ, Bran. I don't rule on Fridays, okay? Hey, Ryan. Mike Green. Hey, Mike, how are you? How'd you
Wrong
find
mic,
us?
wrong mic.
Wrong Mike?
No, remember you thought it was Mike Green from Simplify.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. So
not that
you're
Mike Green, right?
all right. Well, you're famous. You'll become famous when you learn how to trade from Blake and the team. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, let's go to work. I guess we have a number, right, Blake?
Yeah, we got PCE, and PCE is going to be a really tricky one because first of all, I was really hoping, really hoping the dollar was going to be a little weaker into this number, because if this number comes in soft, you have to like kind of dismiss it because of all the tariffs that are going to be hitting the market. So whatever comes in soft right now, you got to be like, well, I don't know if I really want to short. Like if it was soft and the dollar
Yeah.
weakened, I think you have to buy that. Not maybe just from a reaction standpoint, just because we have probably inflationary pressures coming down the pipe now, in the next couple of months. So that's like how I think about it today. The unfortunate thing is, and what I was hoping would happen by now, is I thought the euro could be trading well above 108, kind of
At
towards
that breakout.
108.50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was really hoping it was going to trade a lot higher to
It
sell
could.
into for the day.
Yeah. It still
Yeah.
could. Could
Yeah.
pop up there, right? Little, held
It ha
this A, B, C,
it'd
you
have to
know.
be some really weak data I mean, really weak.
What's
But
the
hey,
market looking for?
I think it's let me double check.
Hey, Ryan, I know you're
0.3%. 0.3
yeah.
percent.
Okay.
Yeah, and then and then you have to look at like personal spending. That's supposed to increase quite a bit. So if, like, let's say it just doesn't, because consumption's down, people are worried about the stock market, inflation, and people just start pulling back on spending. Maybe that's the number that could shake up the dollar a little, but yeah, the core PCE is expected at 0.3%, which, when you're thinking about PCE is taking in several other components like CPI and producer prices and, other things as well. Um, the chances of a really big miss or a big beat is a little bit tougher when you get finally to the PCE, because there's so much data that factors into it that most economists are pretty good at figuring it out. So that's why I'm not expecting a huge move there, but it is that maybe personal spending and personal income number that could jolt the market. But you might want to get Ryan's opinion there, Dale, because
Well,
he
I
tends to
did.
have he's in the smarter macro trade room in the Forex Analytix chat room,
Oh,
where
okay.
all the intelligent guys spend all their time, which I don't. So
I, I wouldn't call it that. But
no, you
thanks,
guys are all just
Hey,
thanks for
more
the
the
big up.
beer drinking pub guys, but
Yeah.
you all have.
Well, I
you
don't want
know,
to piss on your chips, but Powell has told us that PCE is likely going to be 2.5% and 2.8 on the core. And if you remember what he did in the preceding FOMC to this last one, he had the numbers spot on there as well. So if we get that 2.5%, that's what's expected on the headline number. Most people expecting 2.7% on the core, so he's going a pip above that at 2.8%. And if you can't trust Powell, who can you trust?
Well, so that makes a great point, Ryan. If everybody should be coming in, and you can see the euro, right? It's obviously dollars bid, the euro's trading at its lows of the session right now. Same with sterling. If everybody's thinking the way you're thinking, and they're saying, okay, this is strong data, then if it is weak, as we were just discussing here, and Dale's like, well, it could happen. Yeah, maybe a weak number kind of jolts the market a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah.
anyway.
So yeah, you look at where the bigger price risk is. So the bigger price risk today is not if it's higher, if it's lower.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
Ryan,
Dale.
can I ask you about the way the markets are trading? I could sit here and look at euro, and it could be the same price for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Same last digit for 14 seconds.
Yep.
Is there any message in that? I mean, it's really.
Yeah. The message
is there
is
liquidity issues or just
waiting for
no
April
one's
2nd.
playing? Huh?
Yeah, we've got a bit of a wait for the tariff stuff to come in. We've seen a bit of reaction in the euro to that news on Wednesday when the euro hit its lows for a while. We've got end of month in the mix too. Yeah, we're in that bloody wait and see period again. But it's made a pretty important stop around that 25.30 level, just ahead of the big figure.
Right.
Bounces to 108 are limited. As you can see there, we can't get back above it. So we're still in a downtrend off the highs. But, April the 2nd, April the 3rd, we could be somewhere different. We could be down at 106 or we could be testing 109 again. It's one of those moments. Just pick your levels if you want to trade and, don't get married to it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I've
Dale,
seen more than one of these days where it's been like this. I'm just wondering, what's going on. We've had more volatility, but it's almost like
yeah, you're not really seeing it.
I mean,
yeah,
it'd be like people standing around in the pit with their arms down all day.
Yeah, you've got to, as I say, you've got to be choosy. I mean, I was banging on about my 1030.70 zone, and we got the hold the other day. So we had two goes at breaking through 109.40s, couldn't do it. There's your first signal. Then we started carving through the levels, but it took days and days and days. And then we held 108.30 as resistance, and then we were 100 pips lower. Now we're holding 108. So it has its moments, but you've got to be picky. You could be a seller into 108. And I was waiting to hit it into 108.30 yesterday on that spike over the fix, but we didn't quite get there. So yeah, you've got to wait for your levels, mate, and then give them a go if you got conviction in them.
Okay, I have conviction in this 151 level. Been tested a couple times, and the reason is that was the target of the wedge. Okay, it was about 51.30. And it's still, I'm still a believer this is a bear market and a bigger picture. Sometimes I forget about it. I want to keep it in my head that I do believe that, hey, don't trade this chart, okay? That we're headed down to 140 for, what could be a major breakdown. Back over 52, I'm wrong, but, this looks like. And I'm finally getting convinced about yields. Looks like a bear flag.
Similar picture to dollar yen as well.
Yeah. There you go.
But that dollar yen pretty much hit
I'm not going to be a bond vigilante anymore. No, join me.
No. We hit the 38.2 in that dollar yen of that move off of 158.
Okay.
That was at 25.
TLT held right where it had to. I talked about 88.5 up here. This may have just been ABC. We start closing under 88. Talk to Jim. That would open the door for 84. But this is a pretty important level. And it looks like bonds could go. So my question is, if we get yields coming off, that's probably enough to get more of a bear market rally in risk. Um, wouldn't you say so, Blake?
I'm sorry, I was
Yields.
just I was looking
Oh,
away at something else.
okay.
I totally missed your question.
That's
Sorry.
okay. I'll
What?
answer it.
No, you were talking about.
Yes, I do think that will be. It could be a tailwind for S&Ps for a few weeks.
Oh,
Lower
wait. Okay,
yields.
you were talking about yields, though, right?
Yeah, lower yields. TLT held where it had to. The 10-year looks like Ryan was saying. Looks a lot like the yen on the weekly. So
Dale, talking about yields, and I think, and this is one of those things that I think it's always nice that we talk about it because people are so used to the opposite. Is that you're mentioning yields, and if yields move lower, my assumption is that you would say, well, then that means stocks are probably going to move lower as well. That would confirm that, and
no,
I
I was asking if it could help the market
oh, if it can help, if
recover
yields
longer.
coming down could help the market.
Yeah, instead of us tanking and taking out that low, maybe gives the market a chance to have, instead of not quite a 50% retracement, but maybe 61.8
But
with
doesn't it
lower
matter
yields.
in your opinion, and maybe Ryan could chime in here too. It depends why the market is moving or why yields are coming down. If yields are coming down because let's say inflationary pressures are weaker and we see yields coming down as a result of that, the market could cheer that. But if yields are coming down because bonds are ripping because people are scared, then that's a totally different reason. And stocks would react completely different in that situation. So I guess the comment I would make is just, why are the yields coming down? If they're coming down for the right reasons, I think you're
What
right.
are the right reasons?
Again, if inflation's coming down and people don't feel
Okay.
that the Fed has to be so, they could be a little bit
Okay.
looser with monetary policy. Like, let's say these PCE came down today, yields dropped, and people go, well, that's just because the Fed doesn't have to be as, as like I said, as hawkish with monetary policy. Then, and they might be able to,
Yeah.
give us a Fed put again. Stocks would like that.
Well, wasn't that getting really drawing down? I'll bring Ryan in on QT, almost like the end of QT, which is a pivot.
Uh, Pivot. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Pivot.
I mean, why
It was.
lower
It was
rate?
easy.
Why
Yeah.
lower rates and keep draining
Yeah.
liquidity?
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
It.
if you stop draining liquidity and lower rates, it's going to have more
it
impact.
yeah. It was their way of easing without easing. It was
Yeah.
the lesser
Yeah.
easing, if you like, because it still keeps liquidity in the
Right.
system. It keeps financial conditions on the easy side with you actually having to tinker with rates.
Yeah.
But they've also kept that 5 billion buying in there so that they don't become net buyers again. Or
Yeah.
sorry, they kept that 5 billion QT going so they don't become net buyers again. Otherwise, that steps over the line, if you like. But yeah, I mean, I agree with both your points really. You can see it driving stocks, and you can see the correlation working in opposite ways. But that's just been the markets that we've been in for the last 10 years. You get a
Yeah.
correlation 1 minute and it breaks down the next. And as long as you can identify when those breaks happen, then you've got an idea how to trade it.
Well, I leave this week with conviction about yields, and you guys know I've been thinking we, could push up to Blake's right shoulder. Looking for higher yields. Was a good call in TLT from 93 to
Yeah.
88.5, but I walk away convinced that this could be the end of the yen bounce and that yields are going lower. I'm now with Stelios, so I think there's going to be a growth scare coming up in April.
So if it's a growth scare, Dale, now this is a good question. Well, this is a question that goes back to your original question.
The market will go lower, and then it could also light up the bonds.
Right,
They
because
could
if it
go in
if it
opposite directions.
let me ask you this. Do you subscribe to the idea? And I do. But I want to ask you if you do. If it is a growth scare and people start thinking recession risk,
Recession. Yeah.
yeah, that in itself is going to continue to weigh on equities.
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway.
So all I'm asking for is a couple of weeks, not a narrative that's going to last a long time, but
Yeah.
just yields getting some relief here and getting a continuation of this rally up to confluence at 59.20. And I think I'm going to need a couple weeks to mid-April. So
Can I can I
go ahead.
can I add to that question?
Yeah.
So if you're putting yourself in investor's shoes, if the US is heading for recessionary trouble, where do you go? Do you go to the ever booming UK, Europe? Where'd you go?
I feel so there's some
I'd buy
sarcasm in that question.
I would buy emerging market debt because the dollar's going lower with yields, and that's going to take pressure off all the bonds in emerging markets that are pegged to the dollar. They've been under duress. So if we're going to have a bear market in the dollar, and you think yields are coming down, you could buy U.S. bonds, but why not be in the appreciating currency against the dollar? That's my
That's
advice,
a good point.
and my
There you go.
and my bill is in the mail.
They'll fund.
That's $1 million if you have $1 million. $1 million advice right there, and you probably could work that theme for a while because dollar could be heading down for a long time.
I think the dollar is in some
Toast.
serious trouble. That's for sure.
Yeah. We'll have
Yeah.
to wait for a bottom when McDonald's runs an ad saying the dollar is low, and they give you a good deal for $1.
Yeah,
Big
that
number.
or who would be the Giselle of today? Who's the Giselle of today? That's what we have to figure out. And when that person says that they only want to get paid in euros, um,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey Dale, I grabbed the charts really quick
Yeah,
just
that's
because.
cool.
Yeah, because we got data coming out. But Ryan, I want to
Data
ask.
is it the guy from Star Trek? And he's
Yes, it
coming
is
out.
data.
He's coming
Data.
out. Coming out of what? The closet? Data?
He is not. No,
All right.
he isn't.
Anyway,
Was he?
you said data's coming out in our
No. Oh,
world.
got it. Got it.
That
No.
means something. Okay, that's
Yeah,
all.
it used to mean something. Now
Oh
everybody's out
yeah.
of the closet. Hey, so here's that head and shoulder pattern
Yeah.
that you're talking about. But that was a little false breakout. Actually, we were just
Yeah.
chatting about that in the chat room. Little bit of a false breakout there, but yeah, maybe that'll play. We'll see.
It's a
Um,
lower shoulder.
but
Could
Ryan
still
mentioned
be a head
some.
and shoulders.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's still like, still
Yeah.
it's pretty messy, pretty messy. But regardless, Ryan, you talked yesterday on the Flow Show about a secret end of month calculation that you were only going to share with the Forex Analytics community in the chat room. I actually had to go into the Flowonomics room where all the smart people are at.
Don't give it up.
I had to go in here. No, I was going to ask you, can you give us a little bit of an indication about what the end of month flows are doing? Because right now, and you have to think about today's Friday, obviously, but the end of month is actually Monday, as the first is on Tuesday. And then we got this April 2nd stuff all happening on Wednesday. And so it's going to be very messy the next few days. And there's massive, there's a bunch of reports in the Forex Analytics chat room. If you go over to the news and research room, you can find several reports on what what's happening with end of month flows, which I'm just going to allude to you guys that several banks are reporting that there's big dollar buying coming in for the end of the month. So how do you navigate through all this, Ryan?
Well, I think we saw the bulk of it yesterday because yesterday was value date in the month. As for the other thing I'm looking at, I'm keeping that in the chat room for now because I don't want it becoming a big public knowledge just yet, in case there's some opportunities for us and the subscribers to jump on later on. But regarding this fix, I mean, we saw it pretty clear yesterday. Bang on 3:30 UK time, we saw the dollar getting sold off. Euro dollar rallied up to 108.21, cable up to 129.90, 192, and then 5 minutes before the fix started, the dollar buying came in that we were all expecting from the models, and it hasn't stopped since. So we may have some leftovers to go through today. So again, just keep an eye on those on the clock from 2 hours 10 minutes. 3 hours 10 minutes from now.
All right, so this and Dale, this is what I'm gonna talk to you about, like what I was hoping for today and what my plan was for the remainder of the week. And if you're in the Forex Analytics community, we had 2 hours worth of discussions about this yesterday. So if you guys are part of it, make sure you're tuned in to the shows that are outside of these free shows that we do. If you notice, the euro stopped at the 38% retracement to the pip yesterday. So when it stopped at 108.20, wasn't surprising anybody. Here, what I was hoping would happen is we would, and may still happen, this is, going back to Dale's comments from earlier, we rally past here towards the 618, and I was going to actually be a seller of euros up here at the 618 retracement into month end, which would be, into the next couple of days. That's what I was hoping to do. But now, looking at the market right now, I'm not so sure that that's going to be a viable situation. But you never know. I mean, as Dale pointed out, we could get a little bit weaker data. But I want to talk to you guys about, like, what we were talking about early on as we were just coming on here. This PCE data, it is, expected to come out, as Ryan pointed out. Powell alluded that it's going to be a little bit, what did he say? 2.8%.
Yeah, he expects it unchanged at 2.5% on the headline number, and the core jumping up 2 pips to 2.8%.
So the risk would be is if the number does come in a little weaker. You have everybody leaning into this, potentially stronger data already. And then you got dollar buying coming in through the end of month, and obviously an end of quarter, end of fiscal year for a lot of corporations, and also for Japan. So as a result, you're seeing that natural propensity to kind of move lower like that, with dollar strength. But a weaker data today could actually aid to that, to give us a little bit better opportunities to sell. So I'm going to ask you this, Ryan, and then Dale, I'm going to come to you really quick. How do you want to trade the next, let's just call it the next 48 hours of trading? Obviously not, the next 48 hours on an actual clock. I want to talk about, Friday, Monday.
Yeah, please. I only want to trade the next few hours and take the weekend off, mate.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, PCE, I'm going to be looking at that. If we get a soft one and we get a rally in euro dollar, and even cable, I'm still short on that because a few of us hit that on the fix yesterday towards 130. So I'm still short a bit of that, and I'll do the same. I'll look for doing the same on the fix if we get a rally to any of those levels, 129.90. I'll probably do the same again. Other than that, I got into a bit of a gold trade on the break overnight, so that's maybe heading off and running again. So I'm going to be managing that one too.
Yeah, and so
target? What's your target, Ryan?
Don't know, mate. When you know me, it's going to be a lifestyle when it stops going up.
Okay, got it.
I have no idea.
And yeah, I want to ask. Matter of fact, Dale, I'm glad that we're talking about this, and I totally spaced this. You made a great call on gold yesterday. It pulled back, but then it just turned around, midday, and just took off again to all-time highs. How do you feel about gold here? Because you know, is
It's
that a
blowing out the,
throwover?
yeah, it's a throw over and a blowing out divergence. I'd wait for it to get back in the channel. And like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I was right to trade, wrong the market. And if people listened to me when I was doing it, I said, have your $15 stop in there. When you're up 5 to 10, you take half. And then you bring your stop to BE on the remainder. So made money being wrong the market, right to trade. And
Yeah, and
do
you know,
that
but
than I'd rather do that than be right the market, wrong the trade after being stopped out for a loss.
right, and you know, it was a great call intraday, and
Yeah,
and that's how you manage a trade. And
you
look,
probe,
what's that?
you probe the markets. You
Yep.
never
Yeah, I mean,
know if you know what your point's going to turn into, an important entry, or just a a reaction. You never know.
You know, I'll give you a great example of something I did yesterday. I traded the exact kind of same way. I'm like, okay, I shorted sterling yen because I wanted to play it on a false break yesterday. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to put my stops way above, you know, here. Look for a move down here. I got in the trade. It got in my face. Didn't stop me out, but it moved down to to a positive position barely today. I took it off, and I'm like, you know, it was actually really poorly timed, poorly traded trade. But as traders, even though I made money, I still sat in the chat room and I said it was just poorly timed on my part. But the thing about when we trade as traders is it's all about risk reward, and the 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 gist of it all is you manage your risk, and there are times that you are going to make, you know, the right trade, or you know, the wrong, you know, the right trade, maybe wrong idea, or vice versa. But it's all about managing risk. And what Dale just showed you from yesterday is he probed the market, took half off, stop at break even, you know, and then, you know, you get stopped out on the remainder, and hey, you made a
yeah,
little bit of, made some shekels, and then you move on to the next trade, you know,
yeah. So
until you get a runner.
yeah, so I did it because of the divergence,
Yeah.
and then after I was stopped out of the trade, gold has now blown out the divergence. So I don't see anything to do. I'm not going to, I hope Ryan makes 200 in a hurry.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's like
I'm going to do exactly the same as what you did, mate. I've already taken some profit, and you protect the rest and see what happens.
Yeah.
right,
So
there we go. Hey, let's get set up for the news. Today, obviously PCE coming out. So just going over to Forex Analytics, I'm just going to pull up the data flash here, and then I'm going to move it out of the way, because you can manage it through, you can look at the data through here, or you can look at it through the calendar too, which will populate down here as well, right here. But I'm going to put it on Live Squawk because they tend to be really fast. You had Harry from Live Squawk on the Flow Show today, and you had Michael Brown and Ryan from PIQ Suite yesterday. You've been really busy on the Flow Show, but today's Flow Show with the president of Live Squawk. Really nice to hear Harry's voice. So good to have him on today, Brian.
yeah,
Good job.
very good insight
Yeah.
from the old mucker.
Yeah, old mucka. I'm going to start using that around town. Dale, we should run around and just start calling people muckas. Let's go into Walmart, you know,
You'll
in
get
our
arrested.
area. All right. Hey, we got the dollar in the middle, S&P over here. I'll put yields over here, and let's see if we can get a little bit of a move following the data. So, Dale, how do you want to play today? Do you want to even play today? And by the way, we
Yeah.
got 45 seconds. What are
I'm
you thinking?
short some yen. Okay. And I'm willing to scale in higher. It takes out the 5110 high, but I'm starting to build positions. I'm a believer in lower yields. I'm going to work that narrative until it kicks me in the ass.
Until it bites you in the butt,
Yeah.
in the boom bum. All right,
Yeah, which could be in 10
I'm actually
minutes.
looking to sell the euro a little bit higher if we can get a spike above yesterday's highs. So I'll kind of join you in that regard. Playing into, I still want to play dollar strength into the end of month, end of quarter. So we'll see if we can we get that today. So we do have Canadian GDP. I don't want to dismiss that. I just, it's so backward looking that I don't know if it's going to be a huge response, and with all the tariffs. So here we go.
Well, GDP was better in Canada by a
Yep.
pip. Spot on. Pow is spot on. 2.5, 2.8.
All right. And we are seeing a little bit of dollar strength as a result, but the market was already leaning into it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the euro pop a little higher on that. So again, and this is yields are, moving up at first. Let me see, price index a little firmer. I mean, and you're right, 2.8, or Powell he already gave it away. And, during the press conference, Ryan, you were the first one, and I watch a lot of analysts out there. You were the first one that jumped out there and said, dude, Powell just gave away PCE. And he did.
Yeah.
Spot
That's
on.
2 months on the trot, the rotter. He's not my mucker.
Dale, we need to learn this accent.
Yeah.
I want to run around I want to actually go like to the gas station and start calling people muckas. See what happens.
Listen, you can make a start
in the face.
You can make a start by stop calling it the GBP USD and the EUR USD.
You know what? The sterling and the cable is the way I like to call it.
That's perfect. That's perfect. When you call it the GBP USD,
the sterling, the GBP
Absolutely.
USD. How do you like that?
Wrong. Wrong. They should be arrested for that. You come over here talking like that, you'll be in the tower.
And I'll be a mucka.
Yeah. I think Mike Green has a good point. Mike, I think that copper probably is a better short.
Copper looks like a false breakout. We talked about that yesterday morning here on the show, and it really rolled over yesterday. Yeah. And by the way, the euros, like I said, I think traders were kind of leaning into what Ryan was thinking, and they were leaning into that data, and you can see the euros reversing it right now. So, unfortunately, it wasn't the opposite where we could have seen a bigger reaction back to the upside. But it's Friday,
very shallow pullback at 107.30. But
I'm sorry,
what bull markets do. Very shallow pullback if 107.30 is the end of the correction.
Yep, and I'm with you, Dale. That's why I put in a pattern in play yesterday to be on the long side, at the 107.30 level, and I'm playing it more from a longer term perspective. But I was gonna try to short it up here. Maybe we'll get that chance. Maybe we have Jamie. You have Jamie from Reuters. No,
that was a misschedule. That was scheduled wrong.
Oh,
yes.
Well,
there's no one today.
Oh,
just us. Just only us.
Just us. Well, it's Friday. It's the end of a very, very. It started off as a very slow week, but the volatility really picked up mid and end of week, and it was really great to have like Ryan having your guests on the Flow Show. I've really enjoyed listening to the Flow Show live the last couple of weeks. We do have a time change this weekend, and I know so many of you are excited about that because so many of you are listening to recordings right now because your schedule has kind of been off kilter the last last 2.5 weeks. So it'll be nice that we're all on our normal schedule, and it happens every year where we get less people listening live, more people listening on recordings because it throws their schedule off for a couple of weeks. But we're going to be all back to normal as of this next week, so I'm excited for it, and I'm sure everybody else is too. For Dale, he's like, I don't care, I still get up at 3 a.m, so what does it matter?
Yeah, really. And for a long time, I believe we started F.A.C.E this April. It'll be 9 years.
Wow.
I have to go back, and
Ask your wife.
I'm so bad at years. Like somebody asked me, like, this is like last year. Somebody asked me, how old are your dogs? And I'm like, 4 or 5. And my wife turned to me and she goes, they're 13. I'm like, oh, I guess they're 13. That's how bad I am at counting years.
How many guests do you reckon you've interviewed in those 9 years, Dale?
5,000.
Got to win it. That's some achievement, mate. I've got to say, you should get a round of applause for that. That's some achievement.
Okay, send me a medal.
He gets a
I'll
medal.
wear,
You know,
I'll wear it on my. Hey, Ryan, I'll wear it on my robe.
Yeah, I would do, mate, but it might get tariffed.
Good one, man.
You know, if you guys
I get
if you guys,
screwed out of my medal.
Don't blame me.
No.
Blame Trump.
hey, Dale, you
Yeah.
know how we could do this?
What?
581 videos multiplied by here, whatever, we got 10 here. So you're talking about, we have 5,000 videos in our playlist, and then you have to imagine, out of those 5,000 videos, about a fifth of them are interviews. So I
Yeah.
think you're right. 1,000 interviews that you've done, roughly.
Yeah.
Let's give or take. Oh, we can go past interviews. Let's see if we can. Oh, that would take you forever. 138 interviews, 138 pages times, let's say 6 or 7. I mean, yeah, you're talking.
My fingers as well.
It was a close enough for government work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
close enough for government work. Well, I'll tell you what, I appreciate you being here, and I know everybody else does. And if you don't, well, then don't come back. But for the rest of you, thanks for being here. And make sure you
Yeah.
you retweet Dale's interviews when you see him on social media. I mean, it takes a lot of work to lock down these people, get them corralled up, bring them in on the show, and then spend 30 minutes of them when on these shows, when a lot of the people that Dale interviews, you'll see them on Bloomberg or CNBC for 4 or 5 minutes, and then that's it. And no one can ask questions. So
yeah, and they give us great ideas.
hell
We
yeah,
get good. We pull some pearls out from our guests, and
absolutely.
they share. They're willing to give it up. So
Yeah.
it's I think part of the edifying process that our whole team takes seriously, because they know how difficult of an endeavor this is. So anyway, if you're tough enough, you won't find the secret in trading, because it really takes time, and it's hard work, and there's adversity, and you have to learn to live through that to have a career in this. Everyone has paid a price in one way or another at times in their career. So I
Oh,
talked to Pete.
and you have pockets of bad times, even
Yeah.
for those of us that have been trading. I mean, there's times that you're hot and times that you're cold. And when I'm cold, I know I'm cold. I tell people, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I'm shorting the euro, but you might not want to do that because I'm not trading well. I mean, it just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. So anyway, Saloom, okay, everyone have a great weekend. NCAA, we have Sweet 16, Elite 8.
I had to turn
Yeah,
off the Duke.
it was a slaughter.
Yes, I had to.
Yeah.
I actually went to bed early.
Yeah. All right, maybe the games will be better. I hope,
Yeah, I
anyway.
hope to.
Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. And, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. If you spent a week in here looking to speculate, you're in good shape compared to a lot of your fellow citizens. So, be grateful. Be grateful that you could get aggravated and lose money at times. It's great. It's all good. And your game plan that you come up with on Saturday and Sunday, which can include, what Blake is talking about in his week ahead. Have a plan, come in, and then just wait for the market to come to your plan. That's my
Right.
advice for next week. Ryan, great hanging out with you.
Likewise, mate.
And Blake, same with you, bro. And
Same here, bro.
everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you. Thanks for putting up with an old man. All right, I'll see you later.
Cheers, all.